Well, I knew Doug mostly when he was a child because in 1978, my family moved away from the Milwaukee area where we originated and moved out to Spokane, Washington. So my most interaction with Doug was when he was a child. And he and Tim always loved to play Army Man and firemen, and they had the little pedal trucks and they had the helmets, and they loved to go to the Whitefish Bay Fire Department, and they always loved fire trucks. And it was just so neat that when they finally got to be old enough, they did get involved and were involved the rest of their lives. And besides being a firefighter, Doug really liked to get involved with the community aspect of it. And one time we were out visiting, and my son and daughter were out there, and Uncle Doug took them downtown, and they got to be Smokey the Bear, and he had the fire truck with the candy for the kids and all the handouts and all that. He liked to promote the fire department, and especially with kids, and just make it something that people weren't afraid of the fire department. If they had questions, he was always very open about answering them, making the fire department visible to the community, being in parades, and just the fun part of it and also the rescue part of it. And as a firefighter, not only was he in the volunteer go out on the fire calls thing, both he and Tim got into the investigation and arson investigation, and he got involved with, what was that called that he went to?
State mobilizations and fire prevention activities.
No, the one over in Leavenworth.
International Association of Arson Investigators.
Yeah.
He was on the state board.
He was on the state board for that, and so he tried to take responsible leadership roles also, just not be on call when the tone box went off and then go down to the station. He tried to get involved and do a little bit more.
It was a lot of fun, especially when we'd have like competitions. We'd usually be on the same team, Doug, myself, and a guy named Bruce Ellison. We'd usually win. We'd practice constantly. Taking hydrants, advancing pre-connects to, say, the front door, back door, sending positive pressure fans, setting ladders, getting up to a second floor, coming down and unlocking the first floor door. Stuff that was measurable where you could compete with other people.
The fire service where I live is all volunteer. And I know that they are very, very, very important. And out in Spokane where they live, they're also with volunteer firefighters. I know there's so much behind the scene than just showing up for the parades or showing up for the fire call.
So it's basically a lifestyle rather than just a job or a career or anything like that. It's a family-oriented thing because both my sons and daughter all have had facets or portions of fire department stuff. My youngest son took fire science when he was in high school, and my daughter's a paramedic down in the Vancouver area. My wife was on the fire department with us, so at one time there were 3 of us on the fire department together. During Firestorm, which was in 1991, that was probably the biggest amount of firefighting or suppression efforts in the Spokane area in quite a while. And Doug was at college down at University of Idaho in Moscow, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours south of us. Well, I called him and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He said, "Well, I just got done with class." And I go, "Head up this way and man one of the trucks because there's large fires going on." There was, 15 or so large fires and probably another 30 or 40 smaller fires in the area, about a 3-4 county area. And he's like, "What for?" I said, "Well, there's a couple trucks still at the station. You should be able to get up here in time to get one." And he and a friend of his that was on a fire department, they both came up and they wound up actually on the same division I was on. And then the next day when we were doing more, we both wound up on the same strike team. and it's just a lifestyle. So he'd give up stuff and go a long ways. He was very outgoing towards the fire service, and he participated in a lot of the offshoots, such as fire prevention, investigation, teaching new people, teaching the old dogs new tricks, and he loved operating pumps, driving pumpers, being on brush fires, going to state mobile. Well, you guys don't really have that around here, I don't think, but which is statewide mobile or mutual aid, and he loved doing that, going to out-of-state fires, working for the Forest Service, going out with DNR. One of the big projects we worked on, a whole group of us worked on, was fire prevention and urban wildland urban wildland interface education, as well as pioneering some of the stuff that's actually in use today by incident management teams, such as the information teams that go out, and structural triage. We were kind of cutting edge with Missoula and the scientists for the Department of Agriculture coming up with some of the different forms that are used today and some of the programs. And one of the programs we did, actually, the filming that a company did through the DNR went international. They showed it in Australia and around the Mediterranean, and I think they translated it into 18 languages, and he was part of that. The afternoon that they found him dead, I was on shift out at Airway Heights, and I get a phone call, and it says, Jeff Wainwright from District 8, hey, you need to come up to your mom and dad's house, like right now. And I said, oh, well, I can't, I'm on shift. And no, Tim, you need to come up here now. I said, what for? Well, we're here on an echo call, which means an immediate life threat type call, because we have, I don't know what you'd really call it, a cascading type dispatch.
He called me, and I got a hold of my daughter, who was also over at the house by that time, and I was able to talk to my mother, I was able to talk to the chaplain, I was able to kind of be a go-between, so I knew what was going on out there. I knew I had to get out there as soon as possible, and when I did get out there, having the people from the fire department and stuff help coordinate the funeral, and the funeral was absolutely beautiful. And that took a lot off of us, because we had a lot to deal with besides just Doug's death, but it was, so they really, really were supportive that way. Very, very caring.